And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, happy holidays. Happy Easter to those who celebrate. Happy Passover to those who celebrate Passover. This is basically a super chill stream. Dennis and I are here. You're here. Darren is here. Hey, Darren, how's it going? And we're just talking about some of the latest tech news. I feel like there was some exciting news kind of in the telecom space this past week, so we felt it was worthy of talking about it. So, Joan Jones, welcome. Great to have you here. We appreciate it. We got our friend Debo Pop. Welcome. We got Jay Norton in the chat. Jay, welcome to the stream, my friend. Great to have you here. Let me pop this link on Twitter real fast just to let people know that we are indeed live. I'll give this video a thumbs up.
Yeah, we just decided that we wanted to spend some Easter time together with y'all. And as Stetson said, we think there's going to be some cool stuff to talk about. Also, Stetson, on an off note, I love that every time we do a podcast episode, the days where I wear the shirt, you wear the hoodie, and the days that I wear the hoodie, you wear the shirt.
Yeah, flipped it. Well, it's like 80 degrees in Longmont today. It is nice and toasty outside. So, we're welcoming JC to the room. JC, great to have you here. We have John. Great to see you, John. Akela, welcome. Still rocking Pixel 3, waiting on Pixel news. Hey, honestly, Pixel 5 is a great phone, but we'll see what Google does with Pixel 6 this year. Hey, we got our friend Austin in the chat. Austin, welcome. Great to have you here. Yeah, Dennis, should we dive right into it?
Yeah, man. What do you want to kick it off with?
You want to start off with the Pixel news?
Yeah, I think so. Since Akela brought it up, yeah, let's do it.
And let's pull that up to the stream right now. Share screen. Here we go. So we're looking at, for the Pixel 6, the big rumor right now is that Google's going to be using their own chip. All right. Code name is
Whitechapel.
Whitechapel. I just clicked on the same article and reloaded it. Excuse me. Whitechapel chip. And the idea here is that Google will be manufacturing and designing this chip. They won't be manufacturing it, rather, but they will be designing this chip especially for their Pixel line of devices. This is very similar to what Apple does with the iPhone, right, where Apple launches their own, they make their own chip, the Apple A14 Bionic, 13 Bionic, things like that. And, yeah, the report is indicating that Google could launch devices with this Whitechapel chip as soon as 2021. This would be right in line with the time frame for Pixel 6. Possibly we have Pixel 5a. And the two code names that have been leaked so far are Raven and Oriole. And this could be Pixel 5a and possibly a foldable Pixel. Again, these are just rumors, so nothing's confirmed yet. But Dennis, yeah, what do you think of Google kind of building their own chip? What could we see for Pixel fans and Pixel phones?
Well, I'm personally super excited. I'm more excited about Project Whitechapel than the new phones themselves, because when it comes to the Android side of the smartphones, Android side of like smartphones, pretty much everybody uses Qualcomm Snapdragon in the US, right? There's no real variance. It's all just different phones packing the same types of internals primarily, right? And coming with that, you typically don't see the type of level of integration that you would see with an Apple product where literally everything is specifically designed for that phone. So I'm really excited that Google's finally taking this different approach to really make the Google Pixel into its own. From rumors about the design itself, it seems like there's going to be a large emphasis on like processing in regards to like photography and AI.
That's what I think too, because Google's been using the same camera sensor in their Pixel phones for the past like 4 years. And I think my gut instinct with the rumor of a Google Silicon processor here is that Google's going to be moving to a new camera sensor, some Sony IMX sensor or whatever. And I think they want to boost the image processing. They want to have more and full control over that pipeline process from image capture to image post processing to producing that final image. So that's my angle here.
No, I mean that's what's been rumored is that they're focusing on something in regards to post processing and AI with this new chipset. So I'll be interested to see what the results come from that because Google's already been doing amazing stuff just on the software side. So it'll be nice to see what that blend looks like. I'll also be interested to see if because they're designing their own chipsets in house, if they'll be able to get a better price point for their devices, right? Because now they don't have to pay the Qualcomm premium tax for 5G, right? They're gonna be doing their own thing. So maybe we'll see like a Pixel 5a come in at a nice smooth $300 price point that no one can beat for a level of performance that you wouldn't expect.
Do you think they'll like still use Qualcomm's modems, or do you think they're going to build their own modems too?
I think for their low end, I think they won't use Qualcomm modems.
They'll use something else.
Yeah, if they're doing it on the low end. But on the high end, I think they're going to be forced to, specifically if they want to support millimeter wave 5G and different things like that due to the licensing.
That's my gut instinct too, especially considering Apple's currently using Qualcomm modems as well.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing that gets me most excited. As far as the phone itself, I'm really hoping that the Google Pixel 6 is actually a flagship phone. You know, Google hasn't really been participating in that space for a while, and it's a shame because, you know, there's a lot of people out there that do like that stock Android experience, and they love the updates, they love the launcher. So hopefully we can see Google come to its own, you know?
100%. No, I completely agree with you, Dennis. I would love to see a flagship Pixel from Google. I'm a little concerned that this is Google's potentially first time trying to build a processor optimized for their phone. I'm a little concerned if that will be at flagship level performance or if it'll take like a couple generations to really bring it up to what Qualcomm's been doing.
Well, I mean, as long as it's a meaningful improvement over previous generations, I think we'll be fine because the Pixel 5 and the Pixel 4 basically had same performance as Pixel 3. Like they were all pretty identical. There wasn't really many improvements there. So as long as we see a jump, even if it's not on par with the Snapdragon 888, right? Maybe it's Snapdragon 865 performance. I still think it's going to be good enough.
I agree.
People will be happy.
Yeah. And yeah, Google's not really known right now for, you know, blazing fast, bleeding edge tech. It's just more of a great phone, great software, works well, gets the job done. And I think if they can kind of hit that with Pixel 6, that'll be great. Some rumors here. Pixel 6, as Dennis and I talked about, likely to get that new camera sensor. It's looking like you will be getting a centered hole punch as opposed to a corner hole punch, 4K selfie video. I don't really use 4K selfie video on my phone, but there you go. We're also going to get Pixel 5a, which looks to be nearly identical to Pixel 4a 5G in terms of design. So it'll probably be, you know, some spec bumps here and there with maybe the camera or other things as well. And yeah, cameras. We have two. We might see that folding one. We're looking at a centered hole punch for the Pixel 6. We'll see. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I mean, Apple's proven it's not all about hardware, right, Stetson? You know,
100%.
It's about the experience. And I think Google's taking that play because they realize if it comes to being on a spec sheet, there's no way to differentiate yourself in the saturated Android market. So
Samsung will crush you. They throw all the specs. Another quick rumor is Google's next wireless earbuds, Pixel Buds A, and should be just like a next generation. Pixel Buds are great if you like them. You know, if you have a Pixel device, they work well for you. So we'll see. We have Kurt commenting in the chat. Samsung is actually building the chip for Google, and Exynos has always been slower than Qualcomm.
So Exynos has actually typically had better CPU performance than Qualcomm, but worse GPU performance. And then Exynos has typically also been less efficient as far as battery is concerned. But relatively speaking, it's pretty comparable tit for tat.
I think it's fair. I mean, Qualcomm is in the lead right now, but the problem with their chips is they're generic. They're building generic processors for phones. And what Apple is able to do is they're able to specialize their processors for the specific tasks that iPhone users will be doing or that Apple wants the processor to be doing. So I think this could be really great for Google. And the bottom line is I'm excited for it. I think Qualcomm needs more competition. This should be pretty great.
They definitely need more competition. Moving on, though, from the Google Pixel, let's talk about Google's partnership with T-Mobile.
Yeah, this was huge. So let me see. So first, this is what happened. T-Mobile shut down their live TV service. Okay, we saw T-Vision Live shut down, and it was only, when was it launched, Dennis? Like,
it was only around for like maybe 4 months.
Yeah, was it like December or November of last year, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
And what happened was, Mike's here. I think basically what happened is T-Mobile launched T-Vision without making the proper deals and agreements with the media companies. Okay, and they basically had to shut it down. So in a blog post today, Searvert acknowledged that TV is better with friends and went into much more detail on what led to the T-Mobile's revamped approach. Is an article on The Verge. But yeah, I think they just didn't make the proper agreements. Like the bundle structure that all the media conglomerates want wasn't in place, and T-Mobile didn't follow what they needed to. So
I mean, aside from getting the licensing, I mean, it was more of a matter of it being profitable. I think T-Mobile was taking like a $30 loss per customer that had T-Vision or something like that. It just wasn't profitable. But yeah, so T-Mobile decided to start offering YouTube TV and Philo for people that wanted that more low-cost TV option to replace their T-Vision. But that's not actually the thing that I specifically wanted to talk about. There's something that's been going untalked about that I think is even bigger and more important.
Sure. Let's quickly wrap this up. Yeah. So services shutting down April 29th officially last month, and T-Mobile customers can get a $10 discount on YouTube TV, so it'd be $55 a month instead of $65. And the same thing is for Philo. You get a $10 off discount of the usual price. So that is what the move is going forward, and it'll be interesting to see. If it'll get bundled with T-Mobile service, or if it'll. At this point, it's just like you can get YouTube TV anyway. So
I think it'll be like what they do with Fios, where you can get YouTube TV just billed through your Fios bill. I have a feeling it's going to be like that with T-Mobile.
Just like billed through, and it'd probably be at the full price. It sounds like only people who are in the current T-Vision will actually get that $10 discount.
But yeah, no, the thing I wanted to focus on was their partnership with Google Messenger specifically becoming the new default on T-Mobile.
100%. This is huge. So what does this mean?
So basically, Google Messenger has support for something called RCS, Rich Communication Services. You can basically think of it as like texting 2.0. It allows for larger files to be sent via Messenger. It allows for high-resolution photos to be sent. You get the read and write like little things, kind of like similar to iMessage. It's just so much better than the normal SMS protocol. And different carriers did different variations on deploying advanced messaging, and they relied on different third parties. T-Mobile took a crack at things back in like the early 2016, 2017 area, but now they're handing it over to Google to do and letting Google servers do it, which is great. And the reason why this is so big is because it's removing manufacturers' implementation on it out of the equation. Anybody that can download Google Messengers on an Android phone pretty much can now use this, and they'll just work. And that's the beautiful thing.
It is really good. I actually really like the Google Messaging app. I typically download it on my Samsung phones, actually. Are you using that, Dennis, or are you on the default?
So I used to use Android Messenger, but I actually end up going back to using Samsung's default Messenger because there's certain features I actually really like.
Sure.
One specific one is that you can send a text and set for when you want it to send. So
yeah.
Like if I want to send it at 9 a.m, I can just go to sleep and rest assured the message delivers at 9 a.m.
That's really nice. I think Google just added that, although I'm not sure if it's for all of the phones using the Messages app or just Pixel? Sometimes they are a little finicky with that.
Yeah. And there's other reasons why I like it too. Like it pairs up nicely with the Galaxy smartwatch.
Yep, Galaxy Watch. You're using it with your computer, right? On your Windows machine?
Yeah, using it with my Windows machine. I'm sure Google Messages probably could do that. I'm not 100% sure.
You can use there's an online website you go to. It's like messages.google.com or whatever, and it syncs everything there, which is pretty great, but just not as seamless as having a dedicated app or, built-in software experience. But yeah, this is huge. This is going to be a huge boost for Google's Android Messages app, going to be a huge boost for getting RCS. Pretty much all T-Mobile customers will basically be getting that through Google. But I guess my question is this going to be retroactive? Like, will they update it for T-Mobile branded phones that have sold in the past? Or is this only phones going forward? Because I think that'll kind of delay or accelerate the rollout of these RCS features that I think a lot of T-Mobile customers would actually really love.
So the way it's been being discussed, I imagine it's just being like the next time a phone gets an update, whether it be for security patch or otherwise, they'll probably just go in and disable the default messenger and make it Google Messages, like Google Messenger. And Google Messenger, for most part anyway, on most Android phones, comes pre-installed anyway by default. The only exception to that was primarily Samsung phones.
Yeah.
So
we'll see, and this will be great.
But there's another. Oh, sorry.
Well, I was just going to mention they'll be promoting Google services way more. So Google One will be the default backup service, and they will have much more sales and support for Google hardware like the Pixel phones. So when Pixel 6 comes out this fall, you might see that more prominently displayed and talked about at T-Mobile stores.
Yeah, and I was just going to say there is one other side benefit. If we can get the adoption of Google Message to be used as like the primary messenger to a certain breaking point, it'll make it much easier to convince other people to use that messaging platform. And since it's using Google services, it'll make it much easier for RCS to work across carriers. So that way you can actually message someone in a meaningful way that has, say, Verizon, right? Because when we had Roger on for the podcast, he was talking about how Verizon and AT&T use some different third-party company. But yeah, no, that's the thing I'm actually excited about because I think SMS is terrible. 160 character limit. That's so 1996. And
what are we doing?
And I don't know if you've ever sent a picture using SMS, Stetson, but it gets compressed to like kilobytes. So like your nice, beautiful 16 megapixel image that you just took with your fancy Galaxy S21 gets squeezed down into like a little 800 by 800 image.
It's a potato. You send each other potatoes back and forth. It's been a disaster, and that kind of bums me out as someone in the U.S. Like I almost wish we had WhatsApp take off in the U.S. because that would just solve all this all these problems.
I agree. I wish that. Well, maybe. I mean, I wish that when we talked about this, when we talked about that messaging, the messaging sphere had like 16 messenger apps. But I agree. I wish we just had one app that took over. Actually, the app that would most likely us to closely resemble, minus all the tracking, would be WeChat in China, because WeChat, people can make payments on it. Like you go to like literally you go to any grocery store or whatever, they'll have like a little QR code you can scan, and you just make a payment with your WeChat app. It does it all.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. US, that's going to be a tough adoption because I think what happened, the problem was iPhones were way more popular in the US, and Apple came out with iMessage, and that solved the problem for X percentage of users, maybe 40 to 60% of users out there. It was probably way less, but like the point is it solved the problem for a lot of people.
If you had an iPhone.
And so the problem is only like half baked, and it's still a disaster in my opinion. Yeah, I think I would probably go with Signal as my app of choice. I do use Telegram. I think it's decent, but I think Signal's kind of the one that's taking off. It's way more privacy focused, and it's really nice.
I mean, as someone, me, Stetson, I appreciate my privacy, but on the same token, I also want it to be a convenient experience, right?
Yeah.
Like if something's really a private matter, I'm probably not going to message to you, right? I'm probably going to meet up with you. If it's something seriously that I'm that concerned about, I'm probably not going to have it on any form of text that can be read. I'm probably going to literally go up to you, say it as a one-time conversation in person, and walk away, right?
Sure.
what I need my phone to do is text my mom when I'm like, yo, can you get me a dozen eggs when you're coming up to my house, right? I don't care if the government sees the dozen egg message.
Yeah,
But
I'm curious for the 111 people currently watching this stream, what is your chat app of choice? And it can be iMessage, but I'd love to hear the secondary app. So right now for me, it is iMessage and Telegram are my big two. But I think Signal, I might try and like get my friends on Signal. And the other weird problem too is sometimes group messaging, like group MMS, just doesn't work super well. For some people, it'll come in as individual message threads, and messages will come in out of order. It's a disaster. So I would love to get my friends on something else.
the three that I use the most are Discord for you, texting for you, and then Facebook Messenger are the three that I primarily.
Facebook Messenger is great because you don't have to have the person's number. You can just like, hey, I need to contact you, and it's great for Facebook Marketplace as well. You know, just buying and selling stuff and messaging people.
I mean, Facebook Messenger is basically like iMessage, except
It basically is.
yeah.
So I'm just curious in the chat. We got Charlie coming in, Signal user. Charlie, interesting. Barfin, Google Messenger. That's a great one. Discord mostly. See, my problem with Discord, maybe I'm using this wrong, but I haven't found a way to name my friends. Like Dennis shows up as basically Dragon, and I'd like for me, I sometimes have to like oh yeah, that's who this is. We got Eternal War, Discord, JC, another one for Signal, iMessage and Discord, WhatsApp because my friends use it. Yeah, if you're international, WhatsApp is great. Twitter, Snapchat, and Discord. Snapchat is my least favorite app for messaging. I'm going to see if I can get a Signal chat started.
It's funny because I used to be obsessed with Snapchat because of the score and the streaks.
Yeah.
But as soon as my streaks ended, I was like, this app is so poo-poo, like especially on Android. But I still have people that actually message me on Snapchat just because I had a phase where that's all I did. But anyway,
we have
Allo. I see he's using Allo. Isn't that a Google?
Well, yeah, wait, wasn't Allo discontinued? I think it was discontinued. It was discontinued because it was Google Allo and Google Duo, and I know they discontinued Allo, but Duo lived on.
Dude, you want to know something hilarious? When I was at Penn State main campus, when Google first came out with Duo and Allo, they had like little campus representatives trying to get people to sign up while you were there, and they would give you a free slice of pizza.
That's great.
I literally signed up for Allo to get a free slice of pizza and immediately uninstalled right after.
I actually liked it. It was great. It had auto suggestions right in line. I mean, you could be quote unquote messaging your friends, but it wouldn't even be you two talking. It would be auto suggestions, auto replies, talking to themselves. But they were accurate and they were great.
Dude, was Google, what Google service was it where like you could have the robot automatically call a place to order a pizza for you or something on the phone?
That is Google Duplex, and my understanding is that's only available on Pixel phones right now.
Man. I actually had an interview one time with Google Duo for a job.
Really?
Yeah, believe it or not. I've used so many different apps for interviews pretty much throughout my life. I remember Skype used to be huge. I've used Microsoft Teams. I've used Google Duo, some other third-party stuff. There's just too many messaging apps though in the corporate world. Do you know Slack? Are you familiar with
Slack is great.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just like it's another messaging app.
I know, yeah, and they're all designed for different things. And now we're having this whole phase of we had Clubhouse launch, which was the audio chat rooms, and then everyone else is copying it. Spotify's making something similar.
Wait,
Discord,
what's Clubhouse? I'm not familiar with it.
And so it's iPhone exclusive right now, which may be why you're less familiar with it. But the idea is it's like it's similar to Discord, but it's more open. Have you heard of Twitter Fleets? No, Twitter Spaces is what it's called. So Twitter Spaces is like you can create a room or a space, and there's two, or you can select people to be speakers that are on stage, and those people talk and the other people listen. It's like a live version of a podcast. It's like this, but if it was audio only and we were on Twitter.
That's interesting, but also so infuriating. Look, I really don't understand how these messaging apps are profitable. Like the only path for success for so many of these messaging apps is for them to get big enough that they get bought out. Like, we were talking about how Discord might get bought out by Microsoft, right? Because I don't think Discord's turned a profit yet, right?
I'm not sure. That's a really great question.
I'm pretty sure Discord hasn't actually been profitable, and the only reason why like their value keeps going so high is not because of the actual service itself, but the massive amount of users and the data that can be collected, essentially.
Yeah, the possibility of targeted advertising in some way.
Targeted advertising and just having a community made. And the reason why it's so valuable to Microsoft is because they were kind of missing that aspect for their game. Like, because, you see Microsoft making a big push towards gaming, right? They had the Xbox Live, which is great. They had, like, the platform of, like, Microsoft Suite and stuff as good. But they didn't really have a community, like a hardcore community. They kind of lost that, right? Discord, if they acquire it, gives them that community and gives them a way to target bundle stuff and focus on them. But, like, Discord as a whole isn't that special, right? Like, the only reason why Discord got so popular is because, one, the audio doesn't sound like crap. They actually used a good codec. And then, two, it was a decent experience where they didn't paywall every single useful feature behind it, right? It's not rocket science.
They do have, you can get, as Grizzlegore commenting, you can get the Nitro and Nitro Classic chat perks, but they're not necessary. Like, unless you're running a big server, you really don't need them.
The only main benefit of doing the only perks of getting those services were the larger uploads of files, which you can just get around by linking it to a Google Drive, and then I think HD like screen sharing, right? I think it's capped at 720p by default, but it's not that big a deal if you're just using it as a messaging app, especially if it's just like me and Stetson talking, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't even need it.
Someone brought up Kick.
Oh man, that actually reminds me of Yik Yak. Just the name. I remember.
I remember Yik Yak. That was that anonymous one, right?
Yeah. It was like an anonymous Twitter basically, and it was localized, so it would just be like in school or outside of school. That was a disaster.
Didn't that get like pulled down for a hot minute because of something? I can't remember, right?
Oh yeah, I think it's gone. I think it got pulled down and shut down.
I remember a messaging app called Meow Chat or something like that, and the only reason why the young version of me was on there was to try to get some girls.
Wow, this person's got a lot. Mech 1164, iMessage, and on Android, Google Message, Telegram, and Signal. I'm curious people's input on Telegram versus Signal. I want to try them out, but
Signal's basically a more secure version of Telegram. Telegram's more similar to WhatsApp, like.
And I want to see if there's a desktop app. That's important to me. Like, I want a desktop app for messaging because I can type 75 words per minute on my keyboard. And I can like thumb peck like 30 words per minute on my phone or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, the only reason I have Telegram is because of that one podcast episode, and that was the only time I used it. Like, I don't check it like at all.
It's decent. I got my friends on it in freshman year of college when I switched from iPhone to Google Pixel for a year, and it was funny because I saw one of them just got it again, and so like they had clearly deleted their account or whatever. Like once I went back to iPhone. We had a question here from Eric. And he's wondering if T-Mobile is making Google Messages the default messaging. Oops, excuse me. What does this mean for Samsung and their built-in app?
I think that Samsung is probably just going to need to take the L, right? And just stop wasting resources on investing in it because there's no point, right? Like, the only reason why Samsung's messaging suite worked is because Samsung does have like a large market share and there was nothing filling the void. But if Google's becoming the de facto and it's got the carrier's weight behind it, then there's going to be no reason to use the Samsung messaging alternative. I think it just goes away.
My guess is that both will come pre-installed and the Google one will be default going forward once this is implemented.
But I'm saying, I think he's asking what will happen to Samsung overall, and I'm saying I think they just pull support for the app and it just goes away. Is my thought.
I think so. With Verizon, I don't even know why Samsung makes apps, to be honest with you. Like, I personally love the Google Calendar, Gmail, Chrome. Like, Samsung has an internet app.
Actually, fun fact, Samsung's internet app is actually really good.
Really?
No, and I'm not joking, Stetson. Like, real talk, I use Chrome for everything, but like real talk though, I actually do have a use for Samsung's mobile internet app. What? First off, they have support for extensions like AdBlock, which no other mobile app does. They also have way better privacy control, dude. The way I would put it's like this, man. You know, Google Chrome's good for everything, but you sometimes want to use Mozilla Firefox in case you're trying to do something. Maybe you want some privacy, or maybe you need a more powerful add-on. That's how I look at Samsung's Internet app for mobile phones. It's actually legit, and it's actually a lot faster than Chrome on my S20 Plus.
That's crazy. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I was just like, internet. Who labels an app internet? You know? But
yeah, it's got some like it really does have some meaningful features that I wish Chrome would adopt on their mobile platform. Like, I know Google's never going to let ad block happen, but I wish they would on mobile phone. But we got off topic, and I am sorry.
Here's just a quick one, really quick. You can now use your Android or iOS device as a webcam, and I'll just throw this in the chat if anyone's interested. This could be great for getting a nicer webcam because phones typically can shoot 4K as opposed to my iMac is 720p, although I do have this actually hooked up to a proper DSLR camera, or a mirrorless camera rather, so it looks hopefully a little bit nicer. But there's a quick article for you so you can maybe position it in a better spot and get it all set up. It looks like it is kind of a step-by-step.
Maybe I should do that.
Xiaomi. Well, you can consider it, Dennis. Maybe that's a project. Give it a try. Xiaomi announced their Mi Mix Fold. So this is Xiaomi's first folding phone. It's adopting the same design as Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold. And so it's a book where the screen is on the inside. I think this is actually the better approach. A screen on the outside doesn't make any sense. You're going to scratch that. But you're looking at a 8-inch 4x3 OLED panel with great resolution on the inside. It's going to have a peak brightness of 900 nits, support Dolby Vision HDR, and the display can withstand being folded 200,000 times. And it's got
sounds like a lot, but like, how many times do you think you'd be checking your phone in a day on average?
Well, that's just the inside, right? So you got to want to open it up and de-flip it. Let's say maybe 10 times a day. Is that, do you think more or less? What if we did 100 times a day?
Okay, so 200,000 divided by what, 100?
Yeah.
Divided by 100. That means it would last 2,000 days. That doesn't sound right.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
2,000 days, divide that by 365 days in a year, and that is, what is that? Like close to 4 years, 5 years, 6 years?
That would be 5 years.
5
and
years.
A half.
I think that's pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good.
Bad.
Not bad. Not bad for your first take. It's going to have either 12 Snapdragon 888, 12 or 16 gigs of RAM, 256 or 512 gigs of storage. Yeah, it looks great. Problem is it's not really coming to the US, and it's not made for the US. You're missing out on key 5G and some LTE bands. So
hot take, Stetson. But how does it make you feel that your phones coming out that they have more RAM than some laptops?
Yeah, these actually this is more RAM than my gaming PC. I'm pretty sure I built my gaming PC and I think it has like 8 gigs.
Like I honestly don't get why manufacturers do this. Like, I don't know if you ever paid that much attention on your Samsung phone, Stetson, but like if you ever look, it's never maxing out the RAM, like ever. Because Android is a very efficient operating system and it's going to close out apps that are like being delayed. Like, yeah. Like you're never capping out the RAM. And by the time that 12 or 16 gigs of RAM becomes like a necessary thing, like your processor isn't going to be able to keep up with whatever is causing such a demand.
Yeah, no, it boggles my mind. Actually, I remember when phones had like 2 to 3 gigs. 4 gigs was a lot. Heck, I think Apple is using 3 gigs right now in their
Apple's
phones.
at 4 right now.
That's
with the
good
Pros.
for them. Yeah.
But the reason why I bring that up is because to have 16 gigs of RAM is a waste of battery. Like the RAM is constant. Like even if you're not actually using it for anything meaningful, it's still sipping power. It's very low, but it's still sipping extra power for no reason.
You don't want that. It's like a vampire in your phone. It's just like bleeding it out. You wanna maximize that battery life. Yeah, no,
right.
I agree with you.
But I got off topic on that detail. I think the phone's cool. I think I'm more interested in it because it's good to see how foldable tech's coming along, and I'm excited to see what Samsung will do once they talk about their new foldable
Z
phones.
Fold 3. That's what I'm excited about. Oh, we actually got Debo Bob saying the Pro models have 6 gigs of RAM. For
Oh,
the
my
iPhone.
apologies. My apologies.
It's probably the regular 12 that's now at 4 then.
Yeah, I know the 11. I know that I thought the 11. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess my Pro Max has 6 gigs of RAM. That's exciting.
That's great. And this one, all right, this one's fun. This is the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, name copied from the Galaxy S21 Ultra. And it has a screen on the back of the phone. So this is a screen in the camera bump.
That's actually clever because now you can take selfies with your back camera, which is typically better than the front facing.
And look how big that bump is. That is a bump.
I mean, they're taking the bump and they're owning it, and I'm okay with it because realistically speaking, you're going to rock a case anyway that's going to make that go away.
Yeah, I agree. And this design means your phone actually won't rock, okay? This is like what Google did with the Nexus 6P, where it was a solid bar across the top of the device. And that means when you're using the phone, there's enough lip here resting on this flat surface. And so that's not going to rock the phone. I think it's fine.
Stetson,
and it actually, yeah.
My bad. You go finish your sentence first.
It's actually good because you have a little bit of a gap and it makes it easier to pick up off of a table.
So Stetson, you just gave me an ingenious idea. Next time I'm down at my parents' house, I'm going to pick up my Nexus 6P from behind our TV. And I just had an ingenious idea. I'm going to do a speed test on that Nexus 6P and compare it to S20 Plus performance.
See what the gap is in performance?
Networking performance over the years, man. Since I got all those T-Mobile SIMs, it gave me a good idea.
I love it. I love it. We've got Debo Pop saying OLED glass covering it. I think it's probably actually Gorilla Glass, but I think you're right. It's an OLED screen on the back. And yeah, so you can use the phone to take selfies. That's what Xiaomi is advertising. I think it's great. We actually saw action cameras start to do this. GoPro is putting a small screen on the front. We have DJI putting a small screen on the front of their action cameras. I think it's brilliant. And even something small, you can't really see all the details, but you don't need to see the details. You just need framing. And that is perfect. I think I also heard that the display is actually from one of their wearable devices, and they just have like extras. That's why they're throwing them in there.
You know, on the topic of wearables, a feature they should add is they should make it so that you can get, like, say you have your camera on, they should make it so you can see the camera, like what the camera is seeing on your smartwatch. That way you can actually position like the phone back and take like a great selfie. Like say you have like a big family portrait you want to take. I'm surprised it's not a feature that's been added to anybody's like wearable accessories.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just coming up with ideas that I want companies to implement. But
it's also got a huge camera sensor. It's one. I don't even know how to read that. 1/1.2 inch.
I think it's just saying it's. I think it's saying that it can become very large, like it's an aperture that can expand. Maybe.
No, it's the sensor size.
1/1.2.
Yeah. So I think that you have to divide that, like 1 divided by 1.2, and that's how many inches the sensor is, which is just smaller than a proper 1-inch sensor you get in a dedicated point-and-shoot camera, like the RX100 Mark VII, which is typically like $1,000 or even $1,100.
Well, if you want what that divides out to, it's 0.8333 repeating.
0.83. So we're still far off, but I think this is huge. Like once you get bigger sensors in phones, I think that's going to be the next sort of generational leap in camera performance. But that's huge. So those are kind of what I wanted to touch on for this stream. I mean, those are the news pieces I've been following. Pixel 6, Google, RCS, and T-Mobile, and the cool phones from Xiaomi. Even though they're not designed to work in the U.S., I think they're super exciting. And I kind of want to get a Galaxy Fold just to try it out. I wish I had I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna message you something that I wanted to talk about, but make sure you're okay with it.
Sure. Yeah. Let's check the chat. HTC was great, is what people were talking about. I love their design. Great design, front-facing speakers. And yeah, Dennis is actually in the chat, the infrastructure bill from Biden. I think that's really huge. This is their... actually, Dennis, yeah, you want to talk more about what's going on?
Yeah,
Actually,
so
maybe... Do you have an article?
I can get one real quick.
Yeah, or like an image or something. And
Yeah.
while you're bringing that up, Austin's bringing up we have an Un-carrier event on Tuesday. T-Mobile will be talking about their home internet. So this kind of goes hand in hand with what you're going to be talking about, Dennis, right? Where T-Mobile is going to be April 7th going on stage talking about their new home internet and launching it. What I thought was interesting is when we had Roger on, he was saying in order for T-Mobile's home internet to be a success, it needs to be a failure. Like, you don't want a bunch of people signing up all at once. You want people in select markets signing up, people who need this signing up. Even if it's cheaper than your home internet, you actually want, you don't want to congest the network. And that's the biggest risk at this point. So,
yeah, I got one that more focuses on the part of the infrastructure plan that I want to talk about. I'll send you a
perfect.
link.
All right, we got our link here, and I'll add this into the chat. But yeah, Dennis, tell us more about kind of what we're looking at here.
So basically, for anybody that watches the news, Biden's administration is proposing a over $2 trillion infrastructure plan that's going to be doing a host of different things. But the thing that got my attention and has been being talked about by plenty of people is the $100 billion that's going to be allocated for internet. And basically, in it, they're talking about future-proofing the internet, getting fiber deployed to rural places. It's kind of got whimsical ideas, but unlike previous grants, it's not going to go directly to private companies from the sounds of it. And there's talks about trying to get the cost of internet down as well, which I think is really important. I know our good friend Sneed did a stream talking a little bit about this, and I kind of wanted to have me and you talk about it to see what your ideas were on it, Stetson, in particular. Basically, yeah, I mean, Stetson, do you think this is something that's absolutely necessary? Do you think the government needs to take this active approach, or do you think the private market would have been solving the problem on its own?
I think the fact that people are trying to use Visible's 5 megabit per second hotspot as their home internet is a clear indicator that this is a serious problem that needs to be addressed. So I'm 100% for this. I think, as this article states, high-speed connections are the new electricity. I completely agree. I feel that having high-speed internet access, as we discussed in previous podcast episodes, maybe it's symmetrical 50-50 or maybe it's 50-25. I think that should be accessible to all Americans. That's huge. You basically need it for doing a huge percentage of jobs, for applying to jobs, for opening up new economic opportunities, starting a small business, anything like that. I feel internet is so important, and we should find ways to make it more accessible to everyone.
I 100% agree with this sentiment. I was also shocked that 20 states have legislation in place that prevent municipal broadband from happening. So Stetson, you know how out in your city you have municipal fiber?
Wait,
well, there's 20.
What? They prevent that?
Yeah, there's legislation in place that prevents it.
I'm never moving to any of those 20 states.
But yeah, no, I agree with your sentiment about accessibility. I mean, like I've talked to you before, I think I want to say there's 50 million Americans or something like that don't have access to broadband, which is nuts since we kind of invented the internet and all. And then on top of that, for millions of other Americans, it's incredibly unaffordable. Like Stetson, I don't know if I told you this, but back in my hometown, right, where we have Armstrong Cable as a provider, to get the level of internet speed that I get from Comcast for $60, which is 400 meg from Armstrong, would cost $110.
Holy smokes. It's costing you an arm and a leg just to get basic functionality that I feel is necessary.
I mean 400 meg is fast and all, but it's not $110 worthy, right?
Yeah.
Or people talk about Starlink as being the godsend for rural Americans, but even after you get it installed, it's $100 a month. That's insane.
It's expensive. It's expensive. And yeah, this article is stating that 30 million Americans don't have access to high-speed internet, and millions more can't afford it. So we have people who straight up don't have access to it. Okay, that's they should have access to it, and the ones who do can't afford it. as Dennis said, it's expensive. It's
Yeah,
expensive.
Microsoft did like a study a couple years back outlining the problems that even the people that do have access to what the FCC deemed as broadband, so many more don't have access to speeds faster than that, and they looked at like how most people only have like one option, like just straight up one option. That's all you get, right? So it's a real problem. I guess I just want to ask, man, like, do you think 100 billion over the course of 8 years is going to solve this issue? Right? Because we've been throwing money at this for a very long time. Do you think this is going to be our saving grace that finally gets the job done?
I sure hope so, is what I would say. And I don't know if it's enough. I know that we've had people in the chat have been commenting that fiber rollouts are terrible, never completed to their fullest. We're having ISPs lobbying against the government because they want to keep it monopolized. They're not allocating their resources appropriately. So, yeah, I don't know. I want to be optimistic about this and say it'll work, but the truth is we've had this problem for so long that it may need a little bit more than this to actually get solved. But
yeah, I mean, I told you about my state of Pennsylvania, right? How they took money that they collect from the 911 recovery fee to pay for fiber to be deployed through across the whole entirety of the state, and that money was given to Verizon, and Verizon just pretty much pocketed the money and only deployed it in maybe like 15% of the zip codes that they were supposed to.
jeez, yeah, that's really sad to me. So that's right. And high-speed internet, 5G, it's only available in some locations where internet over.
Yeah, there's 9 billion that's separately being dedicated to 5G deployment.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yep, that's great. So, but yeah, well, I mean, what do you think? Is this going to solve it, or?
I honestly, I know people make jokes about socialist Dennis, but honestly, I think the way to solve America's internet woes is you need a reclassification for the internet as a whole. Internet needs to be basically treated as a Title II entity, so that way it has like there's more regulation that could be imposed. I think that the government needs to come in and just straight up run fiber to every single house. Like they literally just need, like if they want to let cable operators do their own thing with coax cable, that's fine. But the government literally needs to start from square one and run fiber to every single house the same way you would if you were an electric company. And then they need to lease that fiber access to anybody that's willing to buy access for the spectrum. That way you create competition. Because the problem with wired internet in general is it's got an incredibly high cost of entry, and there's lots of permitting and other issues in place with like local communities sometimes not wanting people to come in because they don't want the yards being dug up. So the federal government needs to be the one that says, no, all you little guys, this is how it's going down, and just get it done. And it would be a more efficient use of the money. It'll obviously create jobs, and if fiber's run right with enough strands, you probably won't have to ever actually go back to that house to do anything as far as that's concerned. All the upgrades can happen at the data center level, right?
Yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah, I'd actually be curious. I mean, I'm not qualified for this, but I'd be curious what the cost would be to execute on something like that. And like, could we just reallocate the 100 billion? What would that look like?
I don't think 100 billion is going to be enough, to be honest.
Yeah, well, there's a total 2.3 trillion, correct?
But that's for other stuff. Like only 100 billion out of that
yeah.
2.3 trillion is being dedicated to broadband access for everyone, and that 100 billion for the internet access is being spread across 8 years.
Yeah, I wonder if you could target just the demographics that need it, or the areas or regions that need it.
Yeah, but if you did that, then you're not solving the problem for people that are connected. You're right. And I don't know, like this type of issue, like I said, I think this is the type of issue that like $400 billion is what it would take, if not more, to like actually get fiber to everybody, right? Because that's the gold standard. That's the goal, right?
That's the goal. That's the goal.
But I see a lot of messages in the chat from people saying Debo Bop's like Google Fiber nowhere to be found. Google quit building. They had to fight for everything, Jeremiah said.
Yeah, I think that's actually more of a problem with 5G and the rollout of new cell sites and getting everyone covered that way. Is that like in I think where is it, like China, I want to say like South Korea as well, like the cell companies could just, we need a tower here, boom, and they throw a tower up. And in the United States, right, the cell companies have to lobby the government, or not lobby, but they have to say, hey, we want to put a cell tower here. Here's why. You got to get approval. It's just such a long process. And I feel like we're just so behind. So
I got someone saying hashtag communism on me.
hey, I think we, in my opinion, the current setup for internet isn't working. So I think we should try something new. And I wish we were more open to just trying new stuff. And
Stetson and Dennis for prez.
I would not be a good president. I'll just say that. It's not my forte, not really what I want to get into. But yeah, Dennis, is there anything else you want to talk about in the show, or should we just like open it up, fun Q&A for the
fun Q&A? But I wanna touch on Authentic Gamer real quick,
sure,
just so I can like defend my point real quick.
Sure. So this is Authentic Gamer.
So fun fact, Authentic Gamer, I'm actually pretty pro market about most things, but there's certain areas where free reign capitalism just doesn't work very well. And anything that's utility like this would be where that comes in. Basically, you have a very high cost. Basically, if you're an incumbent player, okay, you're thriving, okay? Like a lot of times, like my small town, I'll use my small town where I grew up at. We were rural. We were like 700 people. We couldn't get anybody to come out because we just weren't that profitable. We didn't have that type of leverage. We eventually got a small cable provider to come, but we had to sign like a 30-year exclusivity agreement with them to come out and build their lines. And we ended up getting a little bit of revenue from them for letting them use the utility poles, but that was basically it. So for 30 years, they got a straight-up monopoly, right? They had no regulation in place, so they could charge whatever they wanted. In fact, Stetson, remember when I said they charged $110 for 400 meg?
Yeah.
It used to be like $300 for 50 meg. So
Insane.
it got better, but they were, they've had all this time to be a monopoly and reap all the benefits of profit. All the while, even once that 30-year agreement goes away, right, and they start doing their upgrades because they know we're trying to look for other people, no one can really come in unless there's someone that's also massive, like a Comcast or Verizon Fast has big money, right? Like little old Dennis couldn't go up and start his own little ISP service in that town without having some serious capital to put in because the money, the economics of it just isn't there. So basically, you get left with one option, and there's no competition in perpetuity. That's not good. And if there's only one option, what motivates them to do upgrades in any means, right? So you either have to have government come in and start enforcing specific regulations, but it still doesn't solve the problem of lack of options for people, right? And there's still other households that aren't getting connected even within that zip code because they live too far out of the town for that private company to do it. So if the private companies aren't going to do it, that's where government has to come in. And if the government's going to come in to do a better job anyway, might as well just go full force, right? That's my stance on it, basically.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. And, I really like the article. I think I'm really happy that this is an issue that's being brought to the forefront, and I'm happy we're taking this initiative.
But let's take Q&A. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Dennis, we appreciate your story. Let's do. Darren's here. 2 terabyte speeds mandatory. Hey man, I think if we get our like 50/25 or 150, that's great.
If the government's going to do this, they should set a target for 100 by 100. I think
that's great. I would love that. And that helps like support your household, all the connected devices. Debo Pop is asking what we want from 5G.
What I want from 5G. Well, to be honest, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited by it, but I feel like my 4G speeds are pretty good. Coverage, maybe. I guess. I mean, what I really want is kind of tied into this bill where I really want to see the home internet over the cell networks be a more viable option for certain community members. I think that'd be great. But,
yeah, I mean, I guess I want better capacity and better coverage and more resiliency in my wireless network.
Sure.
Like T-Mobile, for example, doesn't do a great job of having tons of overlap in all areas when it comes to their coverage. But since 5G is a fancy new term, they're finally spending more money again as far as getting investment and adding towers, right? So hopefully the net result will be a more resilient network. So that way if any type of natural disaster happens, and a power goes out, I won't just lose my cell phone service like that.
Yeah. I think if I were to name one specific thing, I would like the Verizon network to no longer be congested. That's it. That's my one. It's my one thing for 5G. And let's see. We have a question from Mark. What will be the status for all three carriers on 5G rollout by the end of 2021?
The status?
Yeah, I think he's talking about like where will they be in their rollout of 5G.
Well, I think T-Mobile is still going to have a pretty good lead as far as apps like raw coverage is concerned. I think Verizon probably will start having some C-band deployed, but nothing too crazy meaningful since they're just getting access to licenses and stuff like that. I think 2022 is when we'll really see that kick off. And then I think AT&T will be in a similar boat where they'll have 5G expanded, but it will predominantly be band 5.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah.
I think we had Sasha on. He was talking about it. Verizon says they want to have CBRS rolled out by March of 2022, and AT&T's in the same boat. They want to be on the same track as Verizon. So I think by the end of 2020, what we're looking at, T-Mobile is going to be doing a great job rolling out their 2.5 gigahertz N41 band. I think we may see a map with N41. Hopefully, that's what I want to see. And I think I'm optimistic Verizon and AT&T may actually have C-band deployed in a couple spots and lit up, but that's optimistic. And I think Verizon will continue using the CBRS spectrum to boost LTE performance and capacity in some markets.
I will just say that I think that LTE still has a lot of life in it, and hopefully when the carriers are doing these upgrades, they don't end up taking too much spectrum away from the LTE network as a fallback like they did when previous iterations of upgrades occurred throughout the years, because there's still a lot of handsets that are using LTE, right?
Yeah, you're right for sure. Nanya asks, what's the deal between T-Mobile and Google? Dennis and I actually covered this at the beginning of the episode.
Basically, it was like three parts. One, T-Mobile partnered with Google for RCS to make Google Messenger the default for all the T-Mobile Android phones. T-Mobile also is now offering U2 TV since they're shutting down their T-Vision TV. And those are the two major partnerships, right?
Yep, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, good summary. We covered that in the beginning. I just linked an article on The Verge in the live chat. Feel free to check that out for more information. I thought they did a pretty good story on it and covered some of the details.
Roy Jones. Oh, sorry.
Where's Roy?
Roy Jones at 704 said, "Let's chip in on GoFundMe to fund satellite ISPs for internet." Roy, I'm gonna be honest. I disagree. I think satellite internet is pretty terrible, with Starlink being the exception.
Yeah, the latency is really high. I mean, I'm excited for Starlink too. We'll see how that pans out. But
I'm saying like use that and advise that. I would rather not have.
Me too. Darren is asking, what's the difference between mobile broadband and fixed wireless?
So most WISPs or fixed wireless providers will typically run backhaul to like a not a cell site, but like what would you use as the word, Stetson?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean,
it's not a cell site. It's we'll just say a pole with the equipment on it, and that will be beamed to so many houses, and then to those houses there'll typically be some type of receiver that kind of almost looks like a little dish but like tinier, and then there'll be a cable that goes into like a normal like router for the house. Whereas mobile broadband is relying off of like spectrum allocated like T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T, and that's actually using like LTE as like the protocol for distributing that data, or 5G. It basically, it's a different way of, there's not that much difference, but it's different spectrum being used and it's different protocols being used to distribute that data.
Yeah, Austin saying POP, point of presence, is the proper terminology for that.
Thank you, Austin.
Yeah. No, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. And I could actually see the millimeter wave technology, that ultra wideband, not necessarily the frequencies, but that technology of sending information over those high frequencies is a possibility for kind of relaying sites together and helping to provide more connections. Dennis, do you know anything about 5G EDNC? All right, quantum vortex. Straight up, I know absolutely nothing about it. I'm just as curious as you to learn more, and it looks like Dennis is Googling now to either get a refresher or to see what the first hit on Google is and provide a quick summary. But
Yeah,
I'll move on. What do you guys do for a living? Dennis has a proper job. I think he's doing something related to sales, and I'm doing YouTube full time. Like, this is it. I'm here to serve you, to help as many people as possible find an affordable cell phone plan that meets their needs. That's my goal, to explain and uncomplicate the world of telecom, help people save money. That's what's up. So I'm really grateful.
I'm gonna be honest. I have no clue what EDNC is.
Quantum Vortex. You, my friend, have won the question award. You have stumped us. We know absolutely nothing, and we don't want to provide any potentially incorrect information. So we appreciate that, though, and maybe that's something we should look into.
And yeah, as far as, I have a sales job, which hopefully actively not going to be a salesperson for that much longer. Been applying for other things, promotions and the like. So fingers crossed that I get an interview, and with that hopefully comes a nice pay increase. But fingers crossed. Ethan responded that EDNC is the tech behind dual connectivity to NR and 4G LTE. Okay,
sweet. Thank you, Ethan. I love this community. I love this. Oh, this is a great one. Charlie C. Thoughts on LG leaving the phone business? I'll give my snap reaction first, and then Dennis, I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. My snap reaction is this opens up a great opportunity for Google to come in with their budget line, 3A, 4A, 5A phone devices to kind of occupy that budget niche that LG was occupying. That's my initial reaction right there. Dennis, what are your thoughts?
So I agree that it does allow other competitors to go in to fill that low-cost void. But I'm actually more upset that LG is leaving the space because, there's not that much competition in the U.S. market, and LG did play a meaningful role in that. And similar to Samsung, LG was making their own panels. They were releasing those out, and they were developing a lot of in-house tech that was kind of cool. I know at CES they were talking about doing some cool things with like the little rollable screen phone, and they were always the ones that tried out like wacky ideas. Like I think it was the LG G5 that had the modular design where you could like literally pull out the the battery and do all the cool accessories. They were the adventurous one that nobody else was really doing. So I'm kind of sad to see LG go, especially since they used to be such a prominent brand not even a decade ago, right? I remember when LG was considered like the Samsung of today, right?
Yeah, it was in the Android world. I feel like it was between HTC, Samsung, and LG for like who made the best flagship of that year, and then Samsung just took over. But yeah, I know LG is really popular on Cricket, specifically looking at the LG Stylo 6, the LG K92 5G, the LG Harmony 4, LG Fortune 3. A bunch of different handsets are available from LG and kind of that budget category. So this could open up opportunities for Motorola to expand their budget line. And what I'm hoping for is for Google, because I love what they're doing with the Pixel 4a. I think that's super affordable and a great experience. And I'll be honest, I have the Moto G Power from 2020, and I feel like that phone just lags even on the home screen. And I
really,
I don't know what's going on. It just feels slow to me. I haven't used it that much extensively, mainly for that reason. But that's my hot take.
Yeah, I was gonna say because we were getting pretty excited about Motorola's low value offerings from CES.
Yeah, for sure.
Someone commented something about LG offering cell sites in South Korea. Yeah, that is right. LG is actually a cell provider in South Korea. In fact, LG offers insurance. They make washers. They make all kinds of stuff. Same thing with Samsung. They're massive companies in South Korea. Massive.
Areas
LG
like
software.
yeah, I think that was a big problem. Like Google, to me, has shown that software experience is super important. And if you can get that with decent hardware, you're looking at a really great overall package.
Thoughts on the iPhone 13 rumors? I think this year's iPhones, aside from the better high refresh screen, aren't going to be that exciting. But based off the rumors that I've been hearing, I'm more excited for next year, like the following year, because there's going to be a new iPhone SE 3rd edition coming out that's rumored to have support for low band 5G, which is going to be super cool. And based off the new iPhone SE that's going to come out, it's supposed to have an updated design where it's a hole punch instead of having that old like fingerprint design, which is cool. Yeah. And then also for the new Pros of that year, it's rumored that Apple's finally going to go notchless.
Wow.
Which I think are going to be more exciting than whatever's coming out this year.
Sure. I actually have a slightly different take, and I'm excited for this year because last year was like exciting but also a flop. New design change, all right, nice. Camera improvements, nice, whatever. 5G was huge, but we were missing out on that 120 hertz refresh rate display, the thing we all wanted. And so this year, I'm super excited because we're going to get the high refresh rate display, and we're getting, as Dennis brought up in the previous episode, the X60 modem in the iPhones, which I'm hoping should be good and doesn't have the overheating issues. I don't know if is that the 888 that's causing that, or is that the X60 as well?
It's Snapdragon 888 that has the heating issue.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's a modem problem too. I mean, because remember, it's a whole SoC, right? It's a whole system on a chip with Qualcomm.
Yeah. So maybe it's separate, because Apple's will be separate, just the X60.
I'm not an engineer. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there was something that I read in the comments that had caught my eye. Glazed Vaseline was talking about that Verizon's LTE home internet's capped at 50 megabits per second. Is that true?
I don't think I've read that.
I was gonna say, because I know Sneed was doing speed tests, I think yesterday, and he was definitely getting like 100 meg on.
He's not on the LTE home internet though. He's on the 5G home internet.
No. At his house, he has the LTE. At his business, that his parents own, he has the millimeter wave 5G.
I don't know. I still think 50 megs that was what my school had, and it wasn't like, it's not awesome, but it gets the job done. So
I mean, 50 meg. I guarantee if you came from rural America, you would do anything for a 50 meg connection.
Yeah. It's something. Something's better than nothing. Oh, here's a good question from Eric. I'd love to know how you guys became so interested in the wireless industry. What spurred the love for it? The content you provide is very passionate and informative. Well, first of all, thank you, Eric. We really appreciate that. I basically got into it because I was a kid in high school, and I really wanted a cell phone in like 6th grade. Didn't get one. 7th grade, in my middle school, junior high as we called it, I got my first phone. It was a Samsung SGH T369. I have like that barcode burned into my mind. And it was on T-Mobile. It was a $15 plan for unlimited texting and 10 cents a minute. And that was what it was on. And so I was like, well, the phone is garbage and the plan is garbage. So I attacked the phone first. I was like, oh my God, I can buy an unlocked phone and use an iPhone 5, like a premium nice phone with this plan. And I did that, but I didn't have cellular data. And after like 3 years of being like, well, I guess I just text and call people, I was like, all right, I'm ready for a data plan. And I started doing research. And that's when I found out about Cricket, the MVNO market, and I learned that there wasn't a whole lot of information out there. And so I basically combined my passion for creating videos with my enthusiasm for like the cell phone industry and what I was finding, just to try and like help and inform people and let them know about the different plans. That's how I got into it, and from there it sort of snowballed. I started following more and more people in the wireless space. I found Sneed's channel, and I just kind of caught on to the enthusiasm that is brimming in this niche where everyone's so excited by these new technologies, and I'm hoping to continue to learn more and to grow more. So that's how I got into it. Dennis, what's your story behind this?
So for me, I was always just a very nerdy kind of kid. Like, I was into all things tech related. The thing that got me so focused on internet and like TCP protocol and different things like this was because I grew up in a rural part of America that didn't have good access to internet connectivity. So I was desperately looking at ways to make use of my very limited bandwidth with like QoS on routers and, looking into alternative internet options when there were none. And I remember when LTE became a thing, and I got an iPhone 5 on AT&T, I was like, wow, 100 megabits per second. Oh my God. Right. But I have this really crappy 2 gigabyte plan. And it was like around that time when I started looking for unlimited plans, which were going the way of the dodo bird. And I ended up coming across T-Mobile, who had Edge in my town, and LT was very sparse back in like 2013. But once I got on the T-Mobile bandwagon, I kept, again, just looking into things, paying attention to upgrades, anxiously waiting for the day when, LT would come to my place. And I don't know, that's kind of how I got into it. Very poor internet access, and I was just looking for ways to improve that.
So it's kind of similar. I had a terrible cell phone plan and wanted a better one. You had terrible internet and wanted better internet. And that's just like, you just start with this question, like, how do I get a better internet plan? How do I get a better cell phone plan? And
yeah, the answer was just stop being broke and pay more money. Literally, I got a job at like 15 and worked for a gas station. And I was sort of like, hey, parents, I'm going to give you my my crappy little minimum wage paycheck so we can afford that $300 50 meg internet connection. And
Wow.
that was unfortunately the answer for my small town, but
Sure. Let's see what else we got. We covered. Do you think that carriers have a favorite phone brand?
yeah,
Yes.
the one that gives them the most money.
And that typically is Samsung right now.
Yeah.
Brandon Baxter asks, your thoughts on T-Mobile Magenta versus US Mobile? They're so different. It's kind of hard to compare.
Yeah, I mean, it's like apples and oranges. I will just say in my opinion, US Mobile really isn't a good option if you're picking the T-Mobile side of things. If you're picking US Mobile, I feel like you should use the Verizon or the Super LTE.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Mint Mobile's better on the T-Mobile network. So if you can, pay the bulk price.
And then as far as T-Mobile Magenta is concerned, we discussed from yesterday's ranking of the stuff. I think you should just go with T-Mobile prepaid at the $50 plan.
Oh, yeah. That's a great call. Yeah, you should probably get T-Mobile prepaid, either the $50 plan or the $60 plan. Depends on how much hotspot data you need.
Yeah.
Ari Block asks, do you think Verizon will ever sell phones with mid-band and low-band but not millimeter wave?
They already do, don't they?
Already do. So
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Samsung Galaxy A71 5G, I think, is like that, or
Yeah, it's like the lower end ones.
yeah.
And I know they said that all phones going forward will have C-band, but that doesn't mean they'll have to have millimeter wave as well. So you will get like the mid bands. What do you think about not having a Note 20 successor this year? I think it's a bummer for Note enthusiasts.
Yeah, I used to be big on the Note. I had the Note 4, which was like the real true glory days of that phone. My mom is rocking a Note 8 because I got that for Mother's Day, but that was like the last Note I purchased, and it wasn't even for myself. And I've been kind of out of the Note sphere for a while. I mean, I could take it or leave it. I mean, the S21 Ultra is basically a Note, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically a Note without the stylus.
It's a bad Note. They didn't fit the stylus in. So I think if I was Samsung, I would have put the stylus in the S21 Ultra and just called it a day. Like, there's not going to be a huge difference between the S21 Ultra and a Note device.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, with the chip shortage going on, it makes sense, which, since there is a chip shortage, that actually is good that Google's actually looking at designing their own SoC. But
Yeah. This is actually an interesting comment from Reverend Cellular. Yesterday's ranking, you underrated Verizon Get More. You forgot you get 50% off jetpacks, which is huge if you live in a rural area without internet. You actually end up saving more. That's a very fair point, very valid point. I guess we don't really use jetpacks, so that didn't occur to us.
yes, I mean, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, we were kind of just primarily looking at them as phone plans primarily, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there was probably hidden bundles. I mean, we commented about AT&T and if you had the Uverse, I think someone made a mention that you get like a 25% discount, right? I mean, so there's obviously all kinds of bundles deals when you pick with them, but overall, I still stand by that $90 plan you shouldn't pick. You should probably pick the Get More $80 plan if you're going to pick Verizon postpaid. And I still think Verizon's unlimited plans, now how the market's shaped up, are definitively the worst compared to what T-Mobile Magenta Max is offering and AT&T Elite.
Yeah. Verizon, I think, built their reputation in the 4G LTE era as having a premium network, and so they were able to sort of justify to consumers their premium price. I think now the network isn't like it's getting congested, and I think it's more challenging for them to justify that premium price tag. So,
And even if they had the best network, we were still looking at the plans, and the plans just are still arguably just worse. Like, forget the networks. If we're talking about plans, $90 for what you get for that plan is worse than the $85 Magenta Max tax and fees included.
100%. Yeah, I think my favorite plan right now is the Play More, and I have that as a family. So,
Ooh, Austin asked me a good question. He asked me if I had to get rid of my AT&T Elite and Magenta Max, and you had to go AT&T and T-Mobile but not postpaid, what would I pick? Well, I would pick the AT&T unlimited plan that we talked about that was like, I think, what, $60 yesterday?
yeah, let me see if I can pull that up.
Because that plan is incredible value. Well, first off, let me just say I would be sad, really, really sad if that actually happened. But if I had to go prepaid, I would pick the AT&T plan that we talked about from yesterday, and I probably wouldn't even pick up a T-Mobile prepaid plan at this point. I would just go AT&T with that plan that we talked about from yesterday, that $60 one.
Yeah, no, that's a great. I think AT&T prepaid just like they made such a great plan. So here it is on the site. Boom. And I'll just slap that on. So yeah, $60 a month, unlimited data. You're getting priority access. It's basically you're prepaying for a plan, but you're getting a postpaid experience, is how I would describe it. So yeah, if I was in dentistry shoes, I would pick this up, and I would probably do T-Mobile prepaid on the unlimited plan because that would be $50 and also unlimited and priority access.
I'd probably. I mean, if I like I said, I wouldn't pick up a T-Mobile. Like if I had a revert,
yeah, you wouldn't need it.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, like, if I was to do one, I would do that, or I'd do Mint Mobile and be like, yeah, it's cheap, it's on T-Mobile. Like, if I need it, it's here, but I'm primarily on AT&T.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about this before. The only reason I kept T-Mobile was because like how good their plan was, which I'm keeping Magenta Max despite everything that happened because I mean I've been with T-Mobile for 6 years. I'm a little dog, but I wouldn't want to pick any of their current prepaid options. Like I remember when I signed up when I tested out T-Mobile prepaid back in the day. I actually think their prepaid options were a little bit better back like before OnePlus, back when it was like still simple choice, because they had like less restrictions. They really were just basically like identical to the postpaid plans, and I think they were more expensive even, but they were identical as far as that was concerned.
Yeah.
But the new offerings with the 40p like streaming cap and no hotspot, like that's kind of poopy. I might go Mint. Actually, I'd probably do US Mobile because I have 3 lines now, right?
Yeah.
So I'd probably do US Mobile just so I could get the free Netflix, actually, if I had to pick a T-Mobile plan.
Yeah, well, you have to get like 2 other people or whatever.
No, I have 3 lines, remember? With T-Mobile Magenta Max, I have the 3 lines.
Yeah, well, would you port all of them over to US Mobile and just like waste money? Like, it's cheaper for you to cancel the lines and buy the subscription service separate, Dennis.
Maybe.
Okay. Austin has a great follow-up. Same to me, but I have to pick 2 different postpaid plans.
Okay.
So, Austin, I just want to say this like hurts my soul a little bit thinking about spending this much on wireless, and then it also hits me that I am spending this much on my cell phone bill, like with all the plans I have. God, all right, I gotta review some carriers. That's all I'll say. So if I was to pick 2 postpaid options, I think for me right now, in Denver, in Colorado, where I moved to, T-Mobile's decent in Longmont, and I love the N41 connection just down the street, but it's not great in Denver. And so I would probably rock AT&T and Verizon. And then I can't believe I'm saying this, but I've actually been enjoying the same-day movie releases on HBO Max. So it might be worth just going for that AT&T Unlimited Elite plan. And then that would probably be my main line because Verizon tends to be a little congested in some areas. And for my speed test, AT&T seems the fastest in my market. Second line, I'm on Verizon Get More for that Disney Plus perk. So I think that's like 2 streaming services and 2 really great premium plans. Total cost would come out to $85 plus $80 plus taxes and fees. So $160, $200.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts. That's so expensive.
You could just do what I do, Stetson. Take advantage of your dad's discounts.
Depot Pop. Dennis over here is smiling because he loves AT&T.
I love is a very strong word, but I love my plan with AT&T. Because I mean, the company is a company, right? Like, it's a company. But I do love my plan with AT&T. I think AT&T Max, as it stands right now, things can always change, is the best plan. And I do love HBO Max. It was something I didn't have growing up, and I freaking love it because they have Looney Tunes on there. I did binge watch Game of Thrones, there's a lot of other shows that I really like.
Yeah. We watched. My flatmate and I watched Godzilla. No, Kong versus Godzilla. I don't actually know the title, the proper title.
Oh, that I need to watch that. And
it was just like a great action movie.
On my to-do list as well is I've never watched any like superhero movies, and I know there's a director's cut that's like 4 hours long.
Oh my God, my flatmate loved it. He's super into cinematography and that whole hero universe. He thought it was excellent. It's on 4x3, but
it's on my to-do list to watch with my girlfriend. I'm saving it though for when the house is done, so I can actually watch it with
Dennis. That's the move. That is a move.
Yes,
you're
that's
so
what I'm
close. You're so
for.
close. We have so many great questions rolling in.
I know. Holy cow, man. Thank you guys so much. I just want to say, by the way, thank you all for spending your Sunday with us, and happy Easter or Passover, whatever holiday you celebrate. This is a lot of fun. Yeah, let's scroll up a bit because there's a lot of good ones.
So quickly, Jose's chiming in that AT&T prepaid unlimited plus full HD video stream, 10 gigs hotspot. It's a great value. That is the best AT&T unlimited plan right now. Although the sign up process will probably cost you like $100 with all of that.
Reverend Cellular asked us, "Do we know which carrier has the best military deals for all those who have served?" I think T-Mobile.
Two answers here. I think T-Mobile. I think this is right, and I also think you should still consider prepaid, or like if you're looking for an affordable plan, and you're like you don't need postpaid access. I still think you can get cheaper deals going with prepaid service depending on your usage.
I mean, maybe price point wise you can be a little bit cheaper, but I think isn't like military and Magenta or something like $55?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking like Mint Mobile, $15, you know, or US Mobile, like $20, depending on what you need.
I mean, yeah, I guess it depends if they want unlimited or what, but
yeah, that's really my point. Like if you need unlimited, like just go with the major carriers. They're gonna have a discount. I think Dennis is 100% right. So let's pull up. I haven't even looked into this. So, the 4 lines is now available. So check this out. Let me add this to the stream. T-Mobile military plans. You can get Magenta Military, $25 a line. Outstanding deal. If you have 4 lines, that's outstanding. And the Max Military is $35 a line.
That's spicy. But no, yeah. What does it show? What one line is? I thought it was 55, but I might be mistaken.
Oh man, see price breakdown.
Yeah, I was right. Woohoo! Yeah, $55 for Magenta is a really good price point to be at. Like,
that's better than prepaid at that point. And
I was gonna say alternatively AT&T, man. They do some good military discounts as well. I want to say if you're military, you can get FirstNet with AT&T, can't you?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm not actually sure.
Can anybody confirm? Because firefighters and police women and hospital workers can get, military and veterans, right?
Yep. So let's do one line. 56. Yeah, it's to me it's like still right on the edge. I mean, if you need unlimited.
No, I was talking about Elite though, dude. Look at Elite for one line.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. No, that's literally basically the same price as the prepaid plan we were looking at, but you're getting HBO Max.
Yeah,
and that's good.
That's really good. So I guess if you need unlimited, just go with one of the major carriers and get the military discount. If you don't need unlimited, like you can still grab cheaper plans.
Also, real quick, click on 3 lines real fast. I just want to see something.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's actually for Elite. That's basically what my parents. That's like what we're paying on my family plan with my parents, basically, with the discount that my dad gets. So
that's great.
There's an obvious reason why we keep Elite with AT&T.
Yeah, $45. I mean, that's great for what you're getting. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's basically with all the discounts that get stacked. That's basically what we're paying per line. But all the tax and fees, like there's like $30 of tax and fees on that though.
I know, like that's my problem with AT&T. Like they list a price, but it's different. And what I like about T-Mobile is what you see is what you pay, tax and fees included. It's delicious.
Peter responded, by the way, that he knows the Department of Defense is FirstNet. But But yeah, he knows that they get first net. I don't know about other people.
Yeah, we just hopefully YouTube experiment. We just covered that. I'll throw a link in the chat so you can check it out for yourself. Get more details.
Roy Jones is funny. He said Dennis with AT&T is like you never forget your first girl. Well,
thank you, Roy.
Well, to be fair, my dad has been with AT&T when they were AT&T to Singler back to AT&T. Like he's literally been with them for like over 30 years. Like that's the only cell. Like that was my dad's first cell phone provider and only cell phone provider. He's never switched. But
okay, I'm just scrolling back up. We had one. Here we go. If you had a budget of $20 to spend a month on a single line, what would you get?
Oh, that's
This is easy for me, and it's what I actually have. It's Mint Mobile's $20 a month plan. $20 a month, 10 gigs. It's an annual plan. Works for my needs, and T-Mobile network is good enough in my market.
I mean, with only $20, you're limited, so I guess I'd have to pick Mint.
I would do Mint or US Mobile. Depends if you needed T-Mobile or Verizon coverage.
I mean, they're both equally poor in my market, so
there's nothing good. You could do AT&T's $25 annual plan, but
that's over the $20.
Yeah,
I was gonna say if I could do $25, if we could bump it up by $5, the answer is easy. I'd pick the annual 8 gig plan from AT&T, and I'd be perfect. But if it's $20, I guess I have to pick Mint.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to, but
it's full features, so you're getting you're getting the Wi-Fi calling and stuff. Which
I know,
great.
but that's not where I like to be at with my tastes. I have rich boy taste, I guess. I don't want to be down in that price bracket.
Yeah, no, I can respect that.
Roy's like, I might join the military just to get the deals. Listen, Roy, marry a military vet. There you go. Stephen Andrews, also with AT&T Fiber, you get a 25% discount off wireless plans. So for him, Elite plan is $63 instead of $85. Yeah, that's really good.
That is really good.
Debo Bop asked if you had to choose between 5G and HSPA Plus, what would you use? I think the answer is pretty obvious. 5G.
5G, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, someone asked if I got a new camera. I got an adapter so I can use my actual like filming camera. So hopefully it looks a little bit nicer or different or whatever. So thank you for noticing that. The white balance appears to be a little off, so still work in progress. But yeah. I think that's kind of it. I feel like we're winding down in the chat, and we're just about at the hour 30 mark for the stream, which I can't believe. Like I started this with Dennis, and I was like beforehand, all right, yeah, maybe it's like a 45-minute stream, whatever. You know, we cover these news topics, we hang out. But I loved your questions, everyone. Thank you for asking. Thank you for being here on a Sunday evening with us. Dennis, should we just kind of wrap up this show?
I mean, I guess you're getting tired. I could keep going, man. I slept in all day, so I mean, I'm cool. But if you're good, I mean, if you're feeling it, we can call it.
Yeah, I think. Why don't we just wrap it up and say, happy Easter, happy Passover, happy Sunday, happy day. We want to thank you for joining us on our live stream, and it was great having you all. If you're interested in supporting us, you can consider checking out the Patreon. You can actually vote on what video I make next, and I was looking at the poll, so I think I know what video is coming out next. And yeah, Dennis, anything to add?
I just want to say thank you again, everybody, for spending your time with us. It is so much fun getting to interact with you guys. Me and Stetson definitely need to try to do more of these if we can, because it's so much fun just having these chill streams. I hope that everybody's families are doing well and healthy, and I hope that all of you guys get to have a nice juicy ham or whatever your favorite meat is to celebrate the holidays. And I look forward to seeing you guys this Thursday for another episode of our podcast.
Absolutely. Dennis, that was a great conclusion to the show. So thank you, everyone. Please take care and be well. Peace.